where arts and adventure summits the airwaves. This is the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. I'm R. Brandon Long, along with Todd Oberndorfer, and we are your hosts for the greatest podcast in all the land. Tell all your friends. This week's guest, we have Eric Bauman with the Gulf Foundation, Executive Director?
Yep, yeah.
Okay. And then we have Luna representing tattoo artists across America. Right?
Wow.
All of them.
It's not even local, not even statewide, but actually just nationally wide.
All of them.
The world.
Done. Yep.
The world. Yeah. Luna,
Global tattoo artists.
What's the name of your shop?
Spellbound.
And you're the owner?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, owner of Spellbound. And I think you separated the word, 2 words.
I don't like legally. It's one word.
Oh, legally it's
Like I just was being creative. I'm like, I'm just gonna make it one.
Okay, got you.
Make my own word up.
Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, so we will dive in that. But I have I don't know if it's a confession. I don't know if it's I don't know.
You're in a safe place, buddy.
Yeah,
Tell us anything you want.
Okay. This is not beer. It's water.
Exactly.
I got a procedure tomorrow. It's a manly procedure. It's one Eric might be familiar with. I don't know. He's about that age, you know. So it's colonoscopy.
You're in for good fun.
Good fun.
Good fun tonight.
Just going to go ahead and lead with colonoscopy news. So there's that.
I think it's just that you're not drinking and people aren't going to wonder what's wrong with you.
Like,
you feeling okay?
Wait, he's actually like this all the time, like not even without the beers. So yeah, no, it's water, folks, but I'll let you know how it goes next week. And then we forgot to
Have you done a podcast on water?
On water?
Like, think back.
There's probably never. I've never been on water only on a podcast, like ever.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate this.
I support it.
It's my first one. It's my first one.
Yeah.
I think it'll be about the same, but it is just like a little what's that, security blanket. It's just kind of a comfort thing too.
At least I'm holding something. It feels like a beer. And it's carbonated. It's just water. But yeah. Todd,
I have nothing to confess right this second, so.
You don't? Okay.
I'm not having a procedure tomorrow, if that's what you're asking.
Okay. No, but I was going to have you, we didn't touch on this last week, and so before we get to our guests, which I'm really excited about, by the way, because I love that Luna just reached out. She just hit us. We don't know.
That's how you do it. We ask.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you went to OR, and you want to wait on that, or give an update now?
The update could last around, let's see, I checked out the whole show in less than 40 minutes.
This is the outdoor retailer back in Salt Lake.
The global destination outdoor retailer that's now back in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
And runs for 3 days typically.
Yeah.
We have been down for years, year after year after year when it was here before, right? We would hang out, we would see friends, you would get some work done, we would interview people, we would meet new people. And this time around I caught up with some old friends, but it was very small.
Really?
It was about a
like sad small, or do you think
10th of the size?
Do you see potential there? Or?
Winter is always smaller, so I do take that into account, right? Well, we'll have to see next year. They signed on for 5 years, so I think probably next year or even the next season will probably be a better tell.
Yeah,
but the vibe was good.
That's good.
I immediately went to our friends at Kavu, who were there. Tyler was there. Tyler, instead of, he had his, what's that one wheel that he has that he uses everywhere? Is that what it's called?
It's a one wheel. Yeah.
And so I talked to him and Barry, the owner of Kavu, at the booth for a long time, caught up.
And just so these people know here, so we actually interviewed Barry, the owner of Kavu. Kavu's outdoor apparel brand.
Out of Seattle.
Out of Seattle, and they've been around for years now, but there's a life lesson that he gave us. But they have that YouTube interview, I think, on their website. We get so many downloads on that podcast because of his he told the story of how Kavu
Tyler
came
even
to
mentioned how appreciative he was.
Wow. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
But they definitely became friends. We look forward to seeing them each year. I haven't seen them since 5 years. I guess they've been gone. Is that how long they were in Denver?
Sounds
about
right.
5 years. And so it was like no time passed. So that part was nice. Tyler traded in, at least for the OR, his one wheel for roller skates. So he was rocking roller skates. He was buzzing the convention center on roller skates. And then I saw what I can only assume was him in photos the next day in a full Kavu Squatch costume on the roller skates.
I love it.
Yeah.
So much.
If
That's
you
good.
we have to find that photo
Yeah.
and somehow attach it to
Yeah.
this because it was brilliant. He was rocking flannel overalls like you would expect him to, right? Kavu
Yeah.
has some really great merchandise, right? It's really fun stuff. But otherwise, it was kind of a little bit of a quick in and out. I'm glad that I popped by. In this case, because I work for the city for Salt Lake City, I was able to get in through that, so it was kind of quick and easy. And of course, I want to support any of the local companies that are down there. So I think that they had the very first night a big street party. I wasn't able to stay at. Was it the same night? Was it Tuesday?
I don't remember.
Might have been
It's
Tuesday.
all-
Like I think we buzzed up here for the show that night. But anyway, the city wanted to invite them back. You know, I think
nice.
they try to get a little stoked back again. We'll just kind of have to see how it goes. But it felt good to be back. It did feel very different.
Yeah.
And not just scale, just everything felt a bit different. But at the same time, it was really good to have everybody back.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see other people's opinion on that. I think that I just barely missed Shane Osgothorpe was there for visit, right?
Yeah.
And he popped in and out before I even stepped in. And I think that he might have a similar sort of feedback. So we might want to chat with him about his sort of opinion on the show itself, you know.
Lena, do you go to tattoo conventions?
Yes.
How fun are those?
Every single time I can explain those, it's like a In-N-Out burger for me.
Yeah.
It's like a huge line of people that just like, you just tattoo them and just keep going.
Oh, so they're doing work there.
Yeah, I'm working.
Oh, you're working.
Yeah.
So, but do you get like ideas on equipment or gear or how
I
or
love
business
linking
ideas
up
and
with
stuff?
other artists.
Okay.
I've met so many great artists doing conventions from different states. I've had opportunities to do guest spots in different states.
Yeah.
Because of it, I made friends in San Francisco, New York City, Alaska, just by doing tattoo conventions, and those are lifelong friends I would keep forever.
Did you bring a beer with you? Where's your beer?
It's hiding.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure we're appropriately
And drink.
satiated in here because
Yeah.
I got my water and I'm jealous is the only reason.
I hate the taste of alcohol. Like true news. I love beer and I
Yeah.
love champagne, but I hate like dark whiskeys. I hate like this is just dark liquor.
Yeah.
I think it just like makes me like grossed out. I'm just like, ugh.
I love
But,
rum so much.
Like Roosters,
I am like half rum. Yeah.
Roosters is one of my like
One of your favorite beers?
yeah, it
Oh,
is.
yeah.
It reminds me of Hefeweizen, like Squatters. It's
Yeah.
very like similar. So I actually lived in California for a little bit, and I would have to drive down and pick up Squatters and then go back to California because
Interesting.
they didn't have Squatters there. And I was like,
Yeah.
what the heck?
It is a nice, easy to drink wheat beer.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Hefeweizens are always good. Yeah.
Eric. Oh yeah. Cheers. There it is. Eric,
Eric, where do you stand on
where do you
convention?
convention?
Yeah.
So we can
We
dive
have
into
to
the
keep it
convention
going with.
scene.
When was the last convention you went to?
Convention wise, well, we're just getting ready to go to. So I'm in the running industry, and so we're getting ready to go to the Running USA convention. It moves around the country, but this year it's in Denver, so we're heading there in February.
Denver, where the OR. See,
Yeah,
full
the-
circle.
the Sunshine State.
The Sunshine State.
Oh
I
geez.
think that's what they
What
call it.
geez. What time of year is that? They go
It's February.
February.
Yep.
Lots of sun in February in
Yeah,
Colorado, I'm sure.
Yep. You know that movie reference?
No.
Denver, the Sunshine State.
No.
I want to know. I want to
So
know.
disappointed.
I'm sure we'll know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
What,
can tell us?
Old school.
oh, that's good.
Yeah, one of the best. Classic.
That is a great show. I really do like that show. So, what are you gonna do at the show?
So we go there. It's just it's a running conference where you have a lot of race directors from marathons around the country, and also vendors. And so we're going to learn about best practices and hopefully bring back some great information that we can incorporate into the Ogden Marathon.
And share some of your best practices.
Yep.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
Eric, speaking of best practices, I need you to take a butt cheek to your left because you're off center on Old Faithful, and I just think it looks weird.
Okay.
That's so much better.
Oh, yeah.
It's Brandon's
Best practices.
visual
There we
podcast
go.
hosting.
Visual podcast
there's the
hosting.
art.
I thought you were going to
Yeah.
say, I'm going to need you to take a sip of that beer. Just to the left. Just to your left.
Just to your left.
All right.
Yeah.
We can do
Drinking
that
the
too.
Untamed
Yeah.
IPA. So very good. Did you have?
Well, now you have to share. What would you get? I mean, we've all talked about conventions. So, what do you got to say about conventions? So we have to. We
No,
keep
just
it going all the way
OR.
around.
There is a difference though between say I was a general manager at Gear 30 for so long, and so working in the industry and going to outdoor retailer as a buyer and someone who you're going to work, and it does feel like work versus like when we would go, Todd, we would go for play. We just wanted to talk to people, and we wanted to take pictures of the stuff there and get to know the new gear.
Pull people back into the parking lot to talk to us in the van.
We did that. We
parked the van. Yeah, exactly.
We parked the van down there.
But we became really good friends with a handful of people that trusted us. We had trusting face. To actually leave the center, go to the parking lot, and get into a stranger's van.
Which, Luna, would you do that? If someone was like, we got a van, come podcast
really
with us?
Crazy convention stories if you guys want to dive into that.
Yeah.
Like I have like wild, like tattoo artists literally think they're rock stars. Like we call them workations.
Workations.
Yeah. That's what we call them.
I see a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of that even with OR where at 5 o'clock, the drinks start coming out, the beer, that's where 4, and that's when most of the relationships are created. Deals start happening. I'm sure most conventions have a version of that, or it continues to the after convention party or whatever it is called.
Yeah. A tattoo convention would be nuts, I think.
Yeah, it's wild. Like I think there's certain times you have to stop tattooing around like 8 p.m. because the convention center closes.
Yep.
So I would be telling my clients, all right, well, we're going to this hotel room to finish your tattoo and bring all your friends and all their friends. So we'll be tattooing till like 1 a.m. sometimes. And then we'll be hitting the joints afterwards.
Yeah.
And when I mean joints, I don't mean like marijuana. I mean like bars and stuff.
Yes,
the adult,
none of that happens.
Adult content bars.
You just lost these two.
Yeah.
Yeah, you totally lost. Yeah.
And so we would go to those until like 5 o'clock in the morning, and then we would wake up, like we'll have like 3 hours of sleep and go do a convention at 9 o'clock in the morning. So
What are your thoughts on Utah shows?
Yeah.
Because Ogden and Salt Lake both have big shows.
I feel like every tattooed artist in Utah is going to be listening to this, and they're going to hear my opinions on it.
Well, it's just yours.
There's a lot of politics. There's
Okay.
a lot of politics that are deep into it, and I don't participate in the Utah ones. I'm not against them. I feel like they're ran very, very smoothly, and whoever's running them knows exactly what they're doing, and they're very extremely professional. The only reason why I do not participate it personally is because I live in Utah. So for me, like it doesn't make any sense for me. I'm not going to gain a clientele. I am in Utah. I'm established in Utah. So like it would be so fun for me to be like in Portland. It would make more sense for San Francisco, Santa Cruz, New York, because I gain new clientele and there's like more exposure, I guess. And so when my artists like come to me and they're like, we want to do the Salt Lake City one, we want to do the Ogden one, and I'm like, okay, go do it. Like, I mean, Spellbound isn't, but we're down the street. You can just tell them to come here.
Yeah.
But you have to pay like $15,000 to have a booth.
But you can just, what's the cost to just go and hang out or whatever?
Oh, like probably $25, like an admission ticket.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, I don't mind going to spectate, meeting new artists. There's probably some from Germany, from like different countries. And I think that's great if you want to like learn. But for me personally, I don't think it makes any sense for me to go to one, like as an artist, to work in one in my state.
That makes sense.
If that makes
sense.
Yeah. Maybe St. George.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's closer. Like,
so how do you get clients? Because it's probably competitive. How many tattooers are in Ogden?
Oh my gosh. There's probably like 15 on Washington Boulevard.
Are you serious?
Like shops, at least I've
Shops,
counted.
dude.
Tattoo shops.
Oh,
Yeah,
I had
there's
no
like
idea.
Each shop has how many artists would you say?
At least 5 or 6.
I had no idea.
There's
That's
a lot.
one street.
Tattoos.
That's one street in Ogden.
Well, you said it's lucrative as long as you can get a client base, right?
Yes. Well, think about painters. There's a lot of painters out there, right? But they're all different. They do paint different things. They don't paint the same thing.
So tattoo artists are all. What's your style
Unique.
then?
So the way that I was brought up in the industry, I was taught to like be well-rounded. So I kind of am like diverse and I play with different styles, and I don't try to like stay in one way. I kind of go through phases. So like one phase I'll be like abstract, or one phase I'll be black work, and then traditional. Like, I don't know. It depends how I'm feeling, I guess.
What's everyone asking for these days? A certain style?
I call them basic bitch tattoos.
Okay. Todd?
Very
What is that?
Like, don't look at me. I know what bitch is.
I don't know. You knew that there were so many tattoo artists. I was like, I don't know what that is.
No, but this kind of makes sense. So
I'm joking.
I'm following. Yeah.
I'm joking. No, Utah has a very like suppressed culture. I feel like
Okay.
I'm sure you guys understand. Right? Are you raised in Utah? Are you
Yes.
all raised? You're not. Where are you from?
No, Texas.
Texas. Okay.
Yep.
Texas has a huge tattoo community. Actually, I think Texas has one of the biggest in the U.S. Community as far as
Eric's
I know.
only tattoo is on his ass.
Yeah. You look like an only ass tattoo man.
Yeah. Stay tuned because make sure you watch the whole
Watch the
episode.
whole
'Cause Luna's
episode.
going to give me a tattoo
An ass
during the episode.
That's the
Do you want
bonus,
running
bonus
shoes?
That's
part
the
of the
bonus
show.
point.
I'll do
yeah.
running shoes.
Yeah. Okay. No.
You know the shoes on the wire where it's like Converse, just like coming down.
Oh, that would
Yeah.
be an awesome
Yeah.
tattoo,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I dig that. Okay, but more basic. So,
Oh, yeah,
but the
sorry.
style that you do, like people are asking for the most around here. Is there something trending that's
In Ogden specifically,
Yeah.
well, I have to think about that because I'm originally from Logan, Utah. And when I lived in Logan, a lot of college students got tattooed by me because they were from different states. And they weren't grown up in a way where like tattoos were bad. Like you'll get a girl from like Wisconsin or like California, and they're like, "Oh yeah, as soon as I turn 18, like you get tattoos. You know, you use daddy's credit card to swipe it," and that's how it was. And I was just like, "Okay, cool. Like we're gonna just label our ATM as a bookstore, like whatever."
Sure.
But there was mountains. I always did mountains.
Oh, yeah.
mountain tattoos and like constellations. I did a lot, like stars.
yeah?
And here in Ogden, I feel like the art style has evolved, and I get a lot of clients from Salt Lake City. So I feel like, I don't know, they're like anything weird we'll get. Like we just like, you know, different weird tattoos, like something that you drew. So I feel like the culture has kind of changed where like they want the artist to kind of do their own thing, and they just are willing to get that thing that makes them
So,
artists.
there's a photographer in town who prints stuff for other artists, and he's got an issue with that people bringing in photos from their iPhone because they believe that the iPhone has good enough quality to print really, really big.
Oh, no.
which it doesn't. So I'm curious. You know, people very much like their own art.
Always.
Do they bring in art that you look at and it's like, this is not going to work?
I've gotten, oh my gosh, it's so funny because it's like I hear all these like voices in my head that tell me all these things, and I never say it out loud. So I always feel bad if it comes off like really offensive to like clients because it's like very like blunt. But like, to be completely honest, I don't say anything to my clients when they bring me something that is very untattooable. I've learned a lot. Like I've been tattooing for at least 7 years, and throughout the years I've learned not to tell your client like no. Like you're like, okay, I'm going to do everything in my power as an artist to make it a yes. Like I'm going to change it to fit their vision. But like I've noticed when I tell clients like, oh, like this is not going to work out. Like look at the line work. Like this is too small or blah, 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 blah. Like I skip that step and I tell them, I love your idea. I think it's amazing. Come in on this day. And then like, I just like give them what I can, similar, like close to what they want, and they never say anything. Like they never were like, oh, actually I wanted it like way smaller. Like they trust your opinion. Like,
Yeah.
And I've gotten so far in my career where like I have a following and I have the social media, like I wouldn't say like clout, but I have like the background where they'll trust me.
Yeah.
And then if they don't trust me, I have to like, you know, hey, like I know what I'm doing, like don't worry, like reassure them and like let them know that. And if it does come down to like them being extra picky, then I just am straight up. I'm like, maybe I'm just not the artist for you.
Yeah.
Like,
Todd, is that an arts lesson here?
Oh yeah. I think that's probably across the board. That sounds about right. But I think sometimes it's also like, how many artists do you have in your shop?
currently I want to say
I like that you have
4
to
or
count.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 or 5. And so maybe you're not the right one, but maybe one of your artists is.
Exactly.
Right? And so I think
Yeah.
that also the more the artists in your community, it's also pairing them up with that.
Exactly.
I mean that's like that's like the nice community thing to do. You know,
Right.
It's that sort of referral work. It's like maybe this particular public art call isn't for you, but maybe
Exactly.
maybe the next
you
one
can
coming
refer
up might
them,
be.
just like how hairstylists do. Like, oh, I know I can't do
Oh, that's
pop
true.
color, so
Yeah.
but so and so does do it. I've referred a couple people to like a few friends of mine, like geometric tattoos. I don't do geometric tattoos. I feel like that skill is like very like intricate line work. And I feel like with my style, it just doesn't mesh very well. So I do have a friend that does it amazing. So I just send them to them.
What's your favorite style to do? When someone says, I want to
I
do
would
this,
say
you're
abstract.
like, yeah,
Abstract art.
Okay.
That's right now, currently.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll change. But like illustrator, like child book, illustrative tattoos, like
Okay.
anything that reminds you of like your childhood. And I feel like that links back to like your art style is going to always, like the foundation is going to be how you grew up in your art, like your childhood.
So did you draw a lot as a kid, like growing up? Like when were you like, all right, I'm tattooing now?
8.
Yeah.
8.
She was 8.
She was 8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just was
Gave
then.
your first
It hit.
tattoo at 8 or 9. Amazing.
I feel like so my parents were the type of parents that did not care if I drew on the walls.
Oh, cool.
And
Yeah.
So I had this like I grew up in a very, very small house. It was it was at least a 1-bedroom house with like 5 kids. And there was this there was like 2 living rooms, but like I think it was a dining room that my parents converted into a bedroom because it didn't have like doors. So it was just like a big like opening room and there was like bunk beds in there. So
Yeah.
I just grew up very poor in like a small house. It was like a square shaped, and I'm sure like my parents were like, this is what we did. My dad worked in a farm. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and like my mom was very creative. She always played like Play-Doh with us, and like she just always like was in touch with our artistic abilities. My older sister is an artist. My little sister cannot draw her own name. Like she's not that good.
Yeah.
But when it came to like art and expressing ourselves, my parents were very supportive, and they're like, yeah, go ahead. Like actually the house is abandoned, and if you still look into the windows, my art is still there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first tattoo?
Yes.
Not on you, but that you
So,
did.
although my parents were very supportive, they're very Catholic.
Yeah.
So they made me wait until I was 18.
Before
So-
you got one.
So before I got one, my
Yeah.
parents don't have one either. My parents don't have any
Okay.
tattoos. I like asked them, like, can I please tattoo you? And they're like, no. They're like more scared about the pain than they are about like, you know, anything else, or like scared it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
So,
And then what was the first one that you did
Um,
on somebody else?
oh, I love your questions.
Well, I have this vision of you like
Like
in an alley somewhere with like some
Basically.
janky equipment or whatever. But
So
but you have to like go to school and do the whole thing, right? But did you
Yeah.
start like on the?
So rewinding the clock a little bit, I remember being in high school and my friends would always like walk up to me and be like, draw me.
Yeah.
Because I always drew. I always was like drawing random stuff. And so my friends were like, here's a Sharpie, like just draw me. So I was that friend that got in trouble all the time by like their parents or teachers. And I would like trace like roses all the time. And then my teacher actually like came up to me. She was so mad at me because she would catch me drawing all the time and I would never do my homework. And I remember telling her that she was all like, you need to stop drawing. And then I looked at her and I was like 17 years old. And I'm like, what if I become a tattoo artist? And it's because of my career. And she's like, 20 more minutes. And then ever since then,
20 more minutes.
yeah, ever since then, she never ever told me to stop drawing.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the school year, she never like told me to put it away. And I actually like, I want to contact her again and tell her thank you. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a huge breaking point for me.
I do have a quick question, and I think that you're probably a good person to ask. Is because you grew up Catholic, your parents, your family's still Catholic,
Yeah.
and so I'm not religious. This is obviously a somewhat religious community that we live in Ogden, and I say in Ogden, in Utah. And how does the tattoo culture sort of play in with what's sort of written, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, the way that you were raised, is it obviously there's plenty of religious people that get tattoos,
Right.
at some point, you know, but what is it? Obviously your parents aren't fans of it. So how does that fall? How does that fall into being a tattoo artist in a culture that, you know, you use the word
Right.
repressed, right?
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of people that are, and sometimes when you said you lived up in Logan, and so it might be their first time away from home. They turn a certain age. They might find a place that's hidden from
Right.
view, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of first tattoos are hidden from view, right?
Yeah.
Some parents don't ever see. And so how's that sort of played into your practice or becoming an artist in a place like Utah?
I feel like in the industry, it's actually really unique in that way, because I feel like a lot of people get rosary tattoos and a lot of people get religious figures tattooed on them. Like you see Jesus, you see Mary. And so I actually find that very interesting that like, although that like religion might play a huge part on like why people get certain tattoos, because like, oh, I want a rosary tattoo because I feel like it's going to protect me. It's the intention behind the tattoo. It's kind of like witchcraft.
Yeah, a lot of crosses, a lot of prayer hands.
Right. And so that's why like I named my shop Spellbound, and that's a witchcraft type of way. And I feel like your intentions are put into your tattoos. And like, if you look way back into history, like ancient history, we've been getting tattoos for so long. Like ancient Egyptians like have them on them, like they've found it on mummies. And I did research one day because I was just like, why is it that we feel the need to mark ourselves? Like why is that a thing? And with all the research that I've been able to combine, it has said we have a need to want to separate ourselves from different tribes or different societies. And whatever will like push us away from like certain societies or civilizations or different tribes to help, like, you know, if you go to Hawaii, there's tribal tattoos.
Sure.
And there's different symbolisms. I don't do tribal tattoos because of the respect that symbolism that is behind all those, you know, different marks and whatever. Like there's different shapes that mean different things, and so different cultures have like all these rules behind the tattoos. And I don't know, I feel like that question, like religion and then like tribes, and it just like goes way back, you know. It's such a complex industry, to be honest. There's so much that goes behind
and
it.
You're a woman, and now when you
Automatically
when you messaged me, you said it was male dominated, and it's funny because I think of Kat, you know, Kat Von D's or whatever, and I'm like, I guess there's probably not a lot of women tattoo owner. I wouldn't have even thought about it, but it is. So how was that, and what's the struggle as far as
being a woman in the
being
industry?
a woman that industry?
So first of all, like I feel like being a woman in the industry, people automatically don't take you seriously, like in any other serious career that you have. Like you're underpaid. Like I think, actually, to be completely honest, I think tattooing is probably, like, for women, we make the most. I want to say, for sure, women make the most in the industry. It has a lot to do with women trusting other women, tattooing them. And then there's some men that don't feel comfortable with other men tattooing them. So especially in like certain areas. So I feel like we kind of have an upper hand. It's kind of like a masseuse, you know, like usually would prefer like maybe a female masseuse or something. Like you feel a lot more comfortable with that. You're alone in a room with somebody, you know, like you want to like choose. And I feel like maybe gender doesn't really matter too much in 2023. I feel like there's so many like different like genders out there now that people can like pick and choose who they want their artist to be. But I definitely want to say in like the last upcoming 3 years, women have been dominating the industry like way more than typically. I do want to announce that I'm pretty sure, as far as I'm concerned, Spellbound is the only female-owned shop like filled with women only in northern Utah.
Oh,
so as far as I'm concerned,
So all your other artists are women too?
yes, we're all
Very
women.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And did they find you? Did you find them?
Yeah, so I'm one of those people.
Did you meet in the woods under a full moon?
Exactly. Yeah, no, we did. I sent out smoke signals.
I see it.
And I put message in bottles and, you know, threw them out in the river. And
There was dancing.
Tried to
around
find
fire.
There was dancing.
yeah. sent a crow out to, you know, different people out there. Just manifested that. But it's kind of word of mouth, to be honest. So I had an apprentice in the beginning, and she was so funny. Like, she made me laugh because she's like, "You're paying me for this, right?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm giving you like, you know, a $70,000 a year career, and you're asking me if I'm going to pay you. If you want to be my assistant, I mean, that's a different story. But I ain't hiring an assistant." So
Luna, thanks for coming in. Thanks for reaching out via
course.
Instagram. And this is a lesson. You want to be on the show? Reach out via Instagram because that worked well. It only took me 3 months to see the message, so that was not.
Message in a bottle. Like,
Oh my god, that was
I'm gonna
horrible.
send
You
you.
didn't see the
signal.
smoke signal.
No, I totally was so far behind.
So
on
basically,
that.
what we've learned too, if you need to email Banyan, you want to email Todd at the Banyan
Well,
Collective.
email was fine.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
she messaged on Instagram.
I'm an Instagram person.
Yeah, and
I thought you were more onto Instagram. Brandon, I'm shaking my head.
she messaged, and that was like probably if she would have tagged me wouldn't have been a way to reach out. But when I forget to check the messages, and that's my fault. It's totally my fault. So I apologize, Luna.
okay.
The timing is perfect.
You saw it.
Yeah.
So that's all that matters.
Yeah, that was great. And so people can just get a hold of you and
Yeah, they can
book time with you.
Book
and-
with me,
yeah.
Hidden Monarch or Spellbound tattoo. Yeah, for sure. I'm always accepting new clients, and we have a bunch of awesome tattoo artists there as well they can book with. So
And is it okay if we come in and say, I want a tattoo? Like Eric's going to come in and he's going to say, I want a tattoo, but I don't know
On
what
his
I,
ass?
I don't on his ass, but I don't know what I want. And so help me figure that out.
yeah, I would be like, there's my book. Like, check out what's available.
Okay. Yeah. That's how I got mine was on a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the best way to do it, honestly, because I feel like when the tattoo artist does their own art, they're like really invested in it.
Yeah.
So
And I saw you do these, like, I'll do these certain tattoos for cheap, like that you've been posting.
Friday
on
the
this?
13th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tattoo artists have like holidays.
Okay.
So there's like Friday the 13th is like a holiday for us.
Okay.
So we do like deals during,
Okay.
and then also apprentices, like who I'm teaching how to tattoo.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a respect thing not to like charge $100, $200 for like something that might come out good.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we don't really know if
Yeah.
it's going to come out good or not. Like we're just testing the waters to see how their line work is going to turn out. So we definitely, we keep it at a certain like ballpark and price wise just to cover our, supplies, expensive,
Yeah, for
keep
sure.
the lights on. But yeah, so they're discounted for apprentices. So if anybody wants an apprentice tattoo, yeah, she's available. as
That's
well.
pretty cool.
So
Yeah, that's
That is cool. Well, see,
yeah,
you mentioned that, so now I have to ask. There's so many questions.
yeah.
I know.
Ask
I'm like,
as many questions.
so
I
this-
talked to Luna all night.
And
It's
so
very
this-
interesting.
Yeah, this doesn't necessarily have to apply to just your work, but how expensive can tattoos get? Now, obviously, they can grow and grow and grow, but I mean, like essentially a design, and
Yeah.
maybe that consists that's already planned out that you're going to cover a lot of square footage on somebody's body, and I can imagine that price could get really high. But
Yeah.
can tattoos get really expensive?
They can really like. I think whoever's doing tattoos values themselves as an artist, so they, whatever they feel like they need to charge you, they will, like as they feel like their value is.
That's good.
Yeah, it's like painters. He feels like he wasted 12, 13 hours drawing this or painting this. I'm gonna sell it for $5,000. It's because he spent his heart and soul and invested a lot of time into this. And look at this masterpiece. It's like,
You spent a little less than $5,000 on yours, I'm assuming.
On my tattoo.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. It's like $100 or something. I don't know. It was like, no, I don't know. It wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't a lot.
yeah,
It was on a wall. It was like one of those cheapy ones.
yeah.
It was a good memory.
I need to add. So Luna, you may see me later.
No, that's fine. I think like my price wise, I was charging probably close to like $120 an hour, and I just recently changed it per piece because I would get finished with like a really big tattoo in like an hour. So I'm like,
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
yeah, I
The better
got,
you do,
yeah, I was just like, dang. And like, I feel like telling my clients, I'm fast at tattooing. And then they're like, oh no, like, don't be fast at my tattoo. Take your
Yeah.
time. And then I like take my time, but like line work is pretty quick for me. And yeah, it kind of was hard when I would only have to charge like $200-300 for a piece that, would have taken somebody at least 4 hours doing with.
I think
like,
something you're going to have the rest of your life should cost more than like a poofy
What?
coat.
100%. Okay. I want to like segment off to the shoe industry. So you're in the shoe industry, right?
well, kind of.
Okay.
I'm in the running industry.
That's funny. Yeah.
I feel like a pair of shoes, like, what do they run? Like, they're pretty expensive too, right?
Sure. Yeah.
'Cause
Running shoes are.
I've always like compared, I don't know, my prices with like, I always just been like, well, you're gonna spend like, $150 on a pair of shoes, and that's gonna only last you like what, 6
Yeah.
to 20 months. And then like someone like tries to bargain with me with my prices. I'm like, this is going to last forever. Like, you don't run down unless you're like in the
Right.
sun all the time. And so I'm just like, understand that our prices, I'm surprised that tattoos aren't way more than they are today because actually I have this theory that tattoos are like, within the range that they are price wise right now is because of how poorly the industry has been treated, like with gang violence in the past and like people associated with prison. People like I have this theory that people just have this like bad connotation when it comes to tattoos, and so that's why I think that people don't value them for what they are. And I don't know, that's just my theory. So
Oh, sure, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, same problem artists have, just artists.
Yeah,
I
starving
see it
artists.
across the board. Yep.
Yep.
Nope,
Yeah.
it's completely true.
yeah.
Eric, you really don't have any tattoos, and maybe
I
that'll
don't, but
change.
I'm going to get one tonight. Like I said, stay tuned for the full
That's the
podcast
post-show,
because
yeah.
Luna's going to give me a tattoo tonight.
Your background. Let's jump over to you real quick, because I'll spend all night talking to Luna. Is
yeah,
int-
it's. I
is
just have to
interesting.
say, it's fascinating.
It really is,
honored
huh?
to be here with Luna. Because
Yeah,
I'm
any
just,
questions you
it's-
guys have,
Yeah,
like,
it's
feel free
so
to ask.
fascinating just to listen and I'm such an admirer and of your art and
Yeah.
what you're doing. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
How did you go from EMT to Goal Foundation?
Yeah. So previous to me being with the Gold Foundation, I was with Ogden City Fire Department.
Yeah.
And it's been a wonderful career there. It was 25 years of being a paramedic and
No stories from that whole time period.
no stories.
No,
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 none. No.
We need you on at least 3 times with your 3 lives that you've had.
Yeah.
But no, that was a really great time of my life and a wonderful career. And what kind of transitioned me to Goal Foundation was in the last portion of that career, I was putting together the medical portion for the marathon.
Yeah.
And so that's where
Were you volunteering or were you?
No, we were
Okay.
putting together the ambulance plan
Yeah.
and working closely with emergency management and all the different components that go into the marathon.
Yeah.
In that matter, and so that's how I got introduced to Goal. And but even before then, I was really interested in the Goal Foundation and what they were doing.
Yeah.
And particularly the impact that I felt like they were making in the community on a lot of levels.
Yeah, well-
outside of the marathon.
Yeah. Let's drop that real. So people who don't know what Goal is and Goal Foundation
Right.
is, what is that real quick?
Yeah,
so-
so get out and live.
Get out and live.
Yes, yeah.
Great!
Oh,
I'm so
yeah.
glad you know what it stands for. Yeah, yeah.
That's one of the things it stands for. There's probably other.
Yeah. Oh, you do know your history because there is something.
We've been here a while.
Yeah. But that is the latest thing that it stands for, and get out and live, and really Goal, just to distill it down, is a nonprofit here in Ogden. It's been around since 2011, and we do a couple things. We put on events. We produce events. The largest being the Ogden Marathon, which most people know us for, and but we also do smaller running events. We do mountain bike events, and then last year we ventured in and partnered with our great friends over at Trails Foundation in Northern Utah, and Eric Manning. I know he was on the show earlier.
Yeah, we don't bring up that name on this show. Yeah, there's a clause that
my
he's just
gosh.
not allowed.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
Todd
kidding.
gives
He's
him so much shit. It's fantastic because Eric is one of my favorite guests, and he does such a great job on the podcast. So
Anyone
Todd
that
gives
can
him-
take it like that guy
Yeah.
takes it, I give it like so bad.
He's great, and that whole organization's great. And so we partnered with them and put on a new event last October called the Northern Utah Trail Fest, and which was just fantastic for its first year.
Which you should have tattoo artists there.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, if you can get the health department in and be like, looks clean enough, then yeah, we can.
Oh, that's true.
Brandon,
Yeah.
can you
There's
help
some
us?
hoops.
Can you help us on that?
I have no,
I mean,
I have no
I
help
can.
with the health department.
You need me? I'll help you.
That's great.
I got them, on speed dial.
Probably. Oh.
I always need to talk to them. Like, what do I do? Yeah, they're really chill, especially like if you do it here in Utah.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary how chill they are, honestly.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, they're like, you're too chill. The fire department too.
Well, that's good to hear.
That's good to hear.
Good people. They're
Good people.
They are.
Good people. Yeah.
Go Foundation is busier every year, and you're in your what year? Third?
Yeah, this is the third year for
Okay.
me, but I started with Goal in 2019, which was right before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And so I started in October, and I think we made it to February. We started doing some of our smaller events, and then that's where
It was a good time to get a new position like that.
it's great. Yeah, the timing was perfect. Yeah, and that's when everything stopped.
So
And
wait, are they found like conventions?
No, not conventions. More athletic events. So
Oh.
we've got running races, marathons,
Okay.
bike races. Yeah,
Cool.
But the challenge with that, around that time, was that everything we did really consisted of bringing large groups of people together.
So you run over there. This person runs over here.
Exactly. So
Don't run too close.
so we inevitably had to cancel our events in 2020 and 2021. We came back with a virtual format because we were kind of in that hybrid in between time where I think the whole world really nobody knew what was happening. And then last year really was our first year of bringing back all of our events in an in-person live format. So fantastic year. Just everything went extremely well event-wise, and here we are. We're
Did the
excited.
Ogden Marathon do an at-home event?
They did, yeah, in 2021.
What was the setup on that?
Yeah, so we did a virtual event. So 2020 we had to cancel completely. 2021 we did a virtual event where we created a platform where people could run any of their any distance that they signed up for anywhere in the world. And we created an online community and a Facebook group, and people from 9 different countries, and people did their run all over the world, which was really cool. It was cool to see the online engagement in a time where we just couldn't put people together still. So
Right.
Well, I, for one, appreciated that step on the way back too. I think a lot of people embraced as much as possible that sort of at-home online, activity, but that also, had a level of interaction and, chat rooms and that type of thing. And so, you miss, that's a very social activity, right?
it is, yeah. And thank you for that. We were kind of looking at it as, what do we do? What do we do right now? And we just felt like it's too important of an event to just do nothing. And so we ventured into that space, into the virtual space, and we learned a tremendous amount about, even looking at the kind of the journey from when we started thinking about a virtual event to what we ended up with. We learned so much, and it was great to see that we could still provide an impact in people's lives. And that's what we were really out to do. So, and it helped kind of fill that void until we could get back to normal.
Which we're back to normal.
Kind of.
I forget we went through a whole pandemic.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah, it feels
But your
like we're
planning
back
is
to normal.
getting closer to back to normal.
Yeah, absolutely. And last May, we did our first in-person Ogden Marathon since 2019, and it's fantastic.
So, as somebody who doesn't run at that level,
Same.
kind of tell our audience how big of a deal the Ogden Marathon is. Like it's a big deal. And why is it such a big deal? I mean, I know location plays into it. I know that the planning plays into it. I know that it's one that people return year after year. Like it's one of on their list that they have to do. What's special about Ogden's
I
Marathon?
mean, Todd, we all know. I mean, I'm at the start line.
Yeah, well,
That's really it. Yeah, Brandon's at the start line. Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, never mind.
It has a history, right?
It does, yeah. So yeah, this is its 22nd year. So,
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it is a big deal, and I think we can talk about why it's such a special race, and but I think really to answer your question, what's such a big deal about it is what it represents to this community. Right. So it's a beautiful course. It's a Boston qualifier.
Brandon is at the Oval.
Brandon is at the start line, which really, people from all over the world come just to see that.
It's weird.
Whether they're running
Yeah.
or not. Yeah.
Brandon's
Yeah.
start line mix.
Yeah. Which is
So
really
totally
good.
what it is, by
Which
the
is
way.
really good, by the way. Yeah. But what's cool about it, I think, is what it means to Ogden, or what it means to this community. And regardless of if you're participating in it as an athlete, or if you're a spectator or a volunteer, we have thousands of volunteers that make this event happen. It's community. It's a community building event. It's probably the largest single day event that happens in our community. And I would say regardless of if you're a runner or not, come down to the finish line and just
Oh man,
just watch.
It's cool.
the finish lines are brutal.
Yeah,
It'll bring you to cry.
It'll bring you to tears. Yeah,
Wow.
And that I think is what's so meaningful. Not only to see people fulfilling their personal goals and their dreams, but just seeing a whole community come together to celebrate a great day.
And in all seriousness, and you do cry. And
Yeah.
our good friend Shane Osgathorpe. So I am at the start, but Shane crushes it. So he's at the finish line.
Yep.
And he's out there 6 hours or something.
He's our MC.
MC.
He's
rain,
out there for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
Rain or shine.
Rain or shine. And it is amazing. I don't know how you feed the information to him, but when he announces the names, people come across the finish line and they're exhausted
Yep.
and they're tired and they're emotional, and you can't help but you just break down. You feel
Yep.
for these people. It's one of the coolest things, and it's free. You just go watch the finish
Yep.
line. Yeah,
Yep.
it's awesome.
Yep. And the cool thing about the event, it's, a lot of people think, oh, it's a marathon. I can't do a marathon. There's a distance really for everybody, right? So there's a 5K, which is a beautiful 5K course. There's a 12K that starts at the Oaks in Ogden Canyon and runs down the canyon and everything finishes at 25th and Grant. So, and then there's a half marathon and a marathon. So really there's a distance for everybody, whether you want to run it, whether you want to walk it. We have families that walk. We have, I did the 5K with my mother-in-law when she was 75 years old. One of the most incredible experiences of my life, watching her do that. And it was fantastic. So that's the idea, is whether you're an elite runner or whether you're somebody that just wants to participate on any level, there's something for everybody there.
It really is a fantastic spectator sport as well. My brother did marathons for a while, and there was one that he ran in, obviously the most memorable one. He did the Dublin Marathon.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
And so slightly different culture there, right?
Sure.
And so there was water, but for the most parts, it was just
Jameson.
cups of
It was Jameson, wasn't it?
Guinness.
Guinness, okay.
As far as the eye could see, but I mean, it was passed out like you would pass out water along the way.
Oh my God. I love it.
And there would be people that would run the marathon with kegs, like wearing kegs like on their back, and I mean, so many costumes but just being there and just being part of it through that, and encouraging these runners as they go by, like they, dare I say, they need that. They
Sure.
need that.
Yeah,
energy,
that's a big
right?
deal.
And so, if I could just be part of that year after year, it's a huge high. And it's all more times than not in our community, you're going to know somebody that's running.
Sure.
Right.
Yep.
What was the attendance last year?
Yeah, so we had just over 5,300 people last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big number.
Yeah.
Is that
and
is
that's
that about as big
representation.
as it gets? What's the?
No, at one point in 2015, there were actually 10,000 runners. So 2015 was the
that's
kind
a
of the
lot.
pinnacle year. And then as an industry, after 2015, everything kind of just started to go down. There was a lot of saturation in the market. And so we range between the 5,000 and 6,000 mark every year. And we get runners from all 50 states. Last year we had runners from 9 different countries. It is a Boston qualifier. And what that means is the Boston Marathon obviously is the kind of the pinnacle of marathons. You have to qualify to get in. And so there's certifications, and marathons are certified so that you can qualify, and like with Ogden, you can qualify. And if you get a qualifying time, then that allows you to enter into the Boston Marathon.
So what is it about Ogden's Marathon that allows you to qualify? Like, what are the?
Well, we're sanctioned through an organization called USA Track and Field that makes us a Boston qualifier, and so that means they come out and they measure the course. They make sure that the course meets all the sanction requirements so that it is a qualified course. But one of the things that is really appealing to a lot of people is we're a fast Boston qualifier, and because we're predominantly downhill. So if you think about it, we start just below Causey Reservoir, we finish here, and so we run down through Ogden Canyon, and so there are some uphill pieces, but the majority of our course is downhill. So it's a quick course,
And it's not so like I ran St. George. St. George has a couple brutal hills. You don't want it too downhill. You want like a moderate.
Right?
downhill.
Yeah. It's a perfect grade to where people can really do some fast times, and so people purposely come here to qualify for Boston, and it's a beautiful course. I mean, to be able to run down Ogden Canyon.
Those are stretches of the road that you can't run down the middle of, other than
when it's closed.
these organized events.
Yeah.
You've done the Ogden Marathon a couple times, haven't you?
Couple times.
Like,
Yeah.
What was your first experience with that?
Well, I finished, so I was happy. It's beautiful, and
So that's one of the first things that comes to mind is that it's beautiful.
it really is, because you get to the canyon part. The first part is fast, actually.
Yeah.
The first part's pretty fast.
South Fork Canyon.
So, yeah, you tend to
Gorgeous.
Run, tend to run really quick because it's a moderate downhill. But I remember running under my predicted rate, and then you sort of go around the Pine View, and then you get into the canyon right when you need it, because it starts getting hard about those miles start getting hard, and then you get into the canyon and it helps you because it's pretty, and then you move into down there behind, like along the river behind Dinosaur Park, and those are my first marathon was Salt Lake, and I broke down at like mile 22 or something, because I'd never gone that far in my life, so it got really hard, and it was like road, like you're in town. This is a long time ago, but in Ogden's, it's pretty and it's nice until you pop out in those last couple
last mile. Yep.
But it's motivational. And if you have to walk and take your time, if you're hurting, at least it's pretty and it's nice and it's not, you know what I mean? And I remember that as part of the experience. But
yeah. And you were talking about Dublin and the huge component of people cheering people on. Our last mile, really, you pop out off of the Ogden River Parkway and you get onto Grant, and then we've got basically a mile to get to the finish. That's kind of we call it our hoopla zone. And so the idea is we line both sides of the streets with different groups that are cheering people on, and it's really a special last mile for people to get them into the finish after a long road.
So if you're going as a spectator for your first time,
that's where you want to be.
Hit the hoopla.
Yeah,
mile.
absolutely. Yeah.
I used to live right there by the Ogden River.
Okay.
I remember when that happened.
Yeah.
I was pissed because I couldn't get my DoorDash.
I couldn't park.
I was like, "Where's my DoorDash?" She's like, "I can't
Sorry
come over
about
there."
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, "You have to go through the other way." And he's
Yeah.
like, "I did. I tried." But they like closed the road off weird.
Yep.
So.
Yep. That was us. I'm sorry for that. Yeah.
You're 32. We had a hard time getting, and any parade.
Yeah.
Like we're shut down.
Well, and I'm glad you bring it up because that's a huge piece of it, because one of our big focuses is just sustainable events, right?
Yeah.
We want this to be a sustainable event. We want it to keep going. We realize the value that it brings. But that's a big focus when you have a 26-mile course and you're looking at all the businesses that are affected and all the residential areas that are affected. And so it's a huge focus for us to try to communicate not only with business owners, but we have a team that goes out and hits the street and hits all of the areas to try to give as much advance warning and really listen to the challenges, because we want to keep having it. But we know also that when we bring an event in like that, it creates.
Is it once a year?
Yeah, just once a year.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, F it. Like,
Right.
like, like just take over. Like,
Okay.
it doesn't take over. Take as much as you can because it's your marketing scheme. And in the businesses, I get it. Like, leave them a little note, give them some cookies, whatever.
Yeah.
But like,
Cookies.
yeah, no, like that's fine. Like, you're like, I'm gonna give you 53,000 people walking by you. Like, you will be
5,300,
fine.
yeah.
Like,
I
watch.
appreciate
like,
that. Yeah. But we also we just
being
wanna
respectful. That's
we
one
want to
thing.
be respectful.
But it's once a year. They can get over it. And then you know what? I got my DoorDash like later that day. I was.
All right, she said it, not me.
You heard it here first,
You heard it here
folks.
first. Okay.
I've never been so frustrated in a car when I was trying to get my family and I went to vacation in Southern California, our condos in Oceanside, and we picked a day that we thought would be a great day, a Sunday, to go to the San Diego Zoo. And it was the same day as the San Diego Marathon, which I've run in the past before, by the way. And I remember it was beautiful, actually. But you couldn't get to Balboa Park. Like every entrance and all the in the maps on the Google Maps. And I was like, what the hell is going on? It was the damn marathon. And it was finally like, I think we tried to get to the zoo early, but it was like around 10 o'clock or something when a lot of the finishers had already finished, when they started unbarricading the streets and you could finally get into Balboa Park and get over to freaking the zoo. I'm like, this is the most maddening thing I've ever experienced ever. So that is part of the logistics of putting on.
But that's a big deal, right?
It's a
About the
communication
messaging
thing.
Yeah,
Like,
it's communication and messaging. Yeah.
Like maybe
huge.
Google needs to work a thing out where it's just like, don't travel today. Like, you
Yeah.
know, marathon going on, just stay home.
Yeah.
So like a weather storm alert, you know,
Yep.
they have the Amber Alerts. I know they can do it.
Yeah.
They did. They actually did have stuff, but it wasn't completely accurate. It wasn't dialed in, and so it was a little off, and it was frustrating because you're in a car with your wife and kids, you're just trying to get to the damn zoo, and it was like, I'm gonna go way the oh, wait, around,
You're
come back
determined.
this way. And then by the time you do that,
Yeah.
something else is closed that wasn't on the Google map because it was showing stuff closed for event closure, I think is what Google shows it
Oh,
as.
wow.
Do you
Okay.
do you communicate to
Yep,
Google?
we do, and we
Okay.
do geofencing as well, and
Okay.
we
Nice.
we have particular paid campaigns that go out throughout the geofenced area. So we're really trying to hit everybody and give them plenty of notice. But we understand that people get their information different ways, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
so we're trying to be as diverse as we can and figure out like what's the best way to communicate with people and at least give advance warning because we know it
Yeah.
it is an interruption. It really is, and so we try really hard in that area.
I think it's a good marketing thing too, though.
Yeah.
Like, get used to it. Like, we're gonna be here. Like,
Yeah,
you know.
and we really want to encourage like local businesses. Like if we're running by Spellbound,
Yeah.
right? Like, hey, let's do something, right?
Yeah.
Let's take this.
Like, I'll have set up
opportunity.
some waters outside.
Exactly.
with my
yeah.
logo around all of them.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. So there's great
Super quick
partnerships.
tattoos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super quick tattoos. Yeah,
Like a dot.
as you're running
like a
by.
dot as you're going by.
I like it.
That's
yeah.
real abstract art right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I'll just have my
Super
machine.
quick.
Just
Yeah.
A freckle. We'll just get you a freckle arrangement.
No, we
I
don't
love
want you
that
guys to
so much.
sweat. You can't sweat after a tattoo. That's not a rule.
That's true.
God, that would be amazing. You like sign all the paperwork in advance and pay for it, and then as you
Yeah.
go by, she's like
You
just
get
gives
it.
you the one like ink dot somewhere, and you're like done.
I love it. There's a
Done.
partnership we need
Oh,
to talk
man.
So this
about.
is a marathon that is somewhat dialed down, I would say. Like, through how many years is it again?
20. This will be the 22nd.
22nd years.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned something like, going
dialed,
to this
dialed in. Like,
dialed in.
Yeah.
What did I say? Dialed
dialed down. I just want to make it like it's dialed up to 100,
in
but
and down and
yeah.
up. It's dialed.
It's
fully
dialed.
dialed in. Yeah. and obviously you keep an eye out, other cities do marathons, that type of thing. But like upcoming marathons, is there still any things that get tweaked? Is it?
Oh yeah, every year. It's not only the marathon, but the day before we do a huge expo up at the field house at Weber State, and so we're always looking at like different looking at these marathons that are big marathons.
So are these like charity events?
Some of them are charity events. Some of them are fundraisers for others. But we're always just looking at like what are others doing, picking up best practices. There are so many smart people out there that are putting together great events, and so we're always trying to take little nuggets from different ones and incorporate them back here.
Nice.
So
Cool.
yeah, we added like last year, for example, that was the first year of the 12K. And we our runners, we do a survey every year, and our runners said, hey, you got to have a 10K because we didn't have that. We had the 5K, and then it jumped all the way to a half marathon and then a full. And our runners said, you got to have a 10K. And so we went and looked at, okay, how could we do that? And we ended up with a 12 because
Which is how many miles?
7.3 miles, but it made sense to start at the Oaks, and because Ogden Canyon is kind of peculiar in that it's narrow in certain sections. So if you did a traditional 10K, there wasn't a great spot.
I think
So-
12K is a good amount
cool.
to sort of work your way up.
Oh,
to.
it's fantastic.
I did a marathon relay in Tahoe with some friends sometime.
Yeah.
Another really beautiful spot, right?
Sure.
And I think that was my leg. It was around that, or at least that's what I ended up running.
Right,
It was about
right.
that, and it was, it was a little bit of a challenge for me, but it was totally doable. I
Yep.
think a 5K is doable for most people.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
I think that's and
Yep.
and so if you wanted to challenge yourself, just kind of that next level, I think a 12K was a great idea.
It's perfect. Yeah.
It's
And
fun.
it's beautiful because you get the bulk of the canyon.
Yeah.
And you come out of the canyon, you're on the River Parkway and then into the finish. So, but that was another one where it's like, we never had that distance. So, even though we've been doing this marathon for years, and it's dialed in, we're always looking to like, how do we improve it? And that's a perfect one where we never had that before.
Yeah.
And now that's a really coveted distance. So.
Well, Todd, we're going to have to make this show an hour and a half, 2-hour show.
It
I
might
can talk
be.
to these guests
Yeah.
forever.
It might
I could
be.
listen to Luna
Yeah.
forever. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that's really interesting because I've never really talked to. I do like events too, but like, how do you organize something like that? Like, do you have to talk to like the police department, like the
Sure.
city department?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like, is it like a bunch of meetings?
Yeah,
Like,
tons of meetings, tons of planning, and we have.
It's like a year-long process.
Oh, it's a year-long
Wow.
process. Yeah, we have such great partnerships with the city and with the county, and so there's a
I'm
law
sure you have to have
enforcement component.
EMTs
Yep. There's
available.
medical, there's law enforcement, there's the health department component, there's mass mass gathering because on the permitting
Wow.
side we get a mass gathering permit. So yeah, there's tons of different components. It really is a year-long
Is there like
process.
fees that come with that? Like
Fees to-
like if you had the health department.
Yeah, sure. There's
mean-
fees with all of that, and so that all
Wow.
goes into your
So
cost
there's
model.
like a budget like you have to work with.
Absolutely.
So when you cut roads off, are there fees to that? Or do they, is it like a community thing where they're like, all right, we just know we need to be here.
Yeah.
Like you don't pay the.
There's not
office,
fees to
like-
cut roads off. There's permitting fees, and some of the road closures live within a permit, like a state UDOT
Is there like
permit.
an insurance?
Yep. Yeah,
Wow.
there's insurance.
Like an
to it.
event
Oh yeah.
insurance?
So you
bet,
do need
yeah.
permission to shut down
Yes,
the road.
you
Brad.
do need
Yeah.
permission.
FYI.
I can't just stand in the
Good to
middle of the
know.
road.
Yeah.
Cutting off
and
For your
there's
next
insurance to it.
block party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Real.
complex, but it all comes together with a lot of planning.
Yeah. And then the day comes and you're like,
Yeah.
like,
Luna, you should
Well, I
see
think
it.
that's the day
It's
after.
crazy.
Yeah.
It is. Come to the finish line next
okay,
year.
I'll go.
And it
I'll be
is
there.
a work
Sponsored
of
by
art.
you guys.
It is, yeah. It's like a work of art
Yeah.
because of all of the moving pieces involved and all the different lengths and all the different. Like they have. I don't know how many. God knows how many buses you have because you got to bus everybody up there and back, and it is.
Oh,
it's
wow.
super
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah, I guess I never
Yeah.
really think about like the details
Lots of logistics
behind, because then you have
Yeah.
to hire bus drivers.
Yep.
and
Yep.
Who,
Yeah.
who like manages? Do you have like different like team members?
Yeah, we do.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, where you're looking at. it.
Like,
We
wow.
have a small team, so we have 5 of us on our team, but we have a huge volunteer network
Interesting.
that help us pull it all together, and we have great partnerships with community partners.
You have a
So-
renowned team of volunteers.
Renowned, unbelievable. I
Like
always say
anytime
it-
volunteers are brought up in any capacity, Goal Foundation is usually part of that conversation.
absolutely.
So is it nonprofit or like does it depend?
Yeah, we're a nonprofit.
So your tax write off. Okay. Check.
She's working. Luna's working.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
interesting. I do pinup contests. So I had one at my shop. I ran one once, and we give like the girl a trophy. Like we do interviews. It's like a pageant.
Okay.
And so like I kind of get the whole like event aspect, but not to that degree. Like that's like times 11, you know. and like what I do, like there are pinup groups in Utah that are nonprofit. So when I can donate my tattoo time to them,
Okay.
and they send me a receipt back, and
Sure.
then I just use that as like a write off.
Gotcha.
So it's like it's interesting how like different nonprofit organizations
Right.
like how are you do you mind answering that question? Like who pays you? Like do you get like are you able to sustain this career by like people volunteering and by people like going to these events, or
The revenue really comes from registrations. So if
Okay.
I register for the marathon, that's a registration revenue, and then we have sponsorships as well.
Oh,
Sponsor
nice.
the marathon.
Oh,
so
that's
those are, and
great
then we have
then.
funding that also comes from local municipalities. So that's kind of the funding mix that funds the organization and then allows us to go and put on the events.
Oh, okay, that's
But the
awesome.
bulk of the funding really comes from registration revenue.
yeah, by people wanting
Yeah.
to
When
do
registration's
Yep.
down, it's not good.
you got to hype everybody up.
All
Yeah.
right, so I have to one last pivot before you sort of wrap things up. You are going to be on an upcoming Van Sessions.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
So
he
this
is.
Wait.
Yeah. So this is a whole other side of you. But we
Okay,
have to
here we
touch
go.
on this because our listeners are familiar
Going to
with
the
this
dark
other
side.
program that we do called Van Sessions, and so we have to touch on that just for a moment. The name of your band is
Lucky Find.
Lucky Find, and it consists of is there 3 of you?
Yep, we're a trio out of Salt Lake, and I'm the Ogden person, but the other 2 are from Salt Lake. We play predominantly in Salt Lake.
What kind of music do you play? What do you play?
Americana. I would say it's probably the genre. We play a little of everything. So rock, country, folk, Americana based stuff. I'm a guitar player.
And you're a guitar player, and you've been playing for how long?
Oh wow, gosh.
Is this something you've integrated into, your childhood, or is that something you picked up
I
later on?
started as a kid, but I never really took it too seriously. But I picked back up probably about 20 years ago, and had a good friend of mine who was a guitar player, and I went and watched him play one night the next, it was so inspiring. The next day I said, hey, you got to take me to a guitar store. I got to buy a guitar. And that's how it all started. And it's just been wonderful. So, yep, kind of self-taught. I'm an ear guy. So, and I love it. And this trio, I played in a lot of bands over the years, but this trio, just great people, and it just comes easily, and it's a lot of fun.
I love it. And we'll get to know you and your band, obviously, March 2023 Van Sessions. So look that up regardless of when you listen to this show.
Is that your arts piece, or did you have something else?
I do, but I think that we've gone pretty long, so I think we're good. Sundance is around the corner. I do have to mention that.
Yeah.
In fact, that's next week.
You won't be here next week. We have, I mean, can we replace Todd? No. But can we have someone sit in for him for a week?
We can try.
Case Johnston will be in.
Yeah.
So you know Johnston.
Yeah, the pub runners.
Yep, pub runners, and but he'll be co-host, and then we'll see if we can get you to call in from.
I'll try to call from Park City.
That would be fun. Give us an update from there. I've got a couple of updates, but well, maybe do I just give you the headlines? What's the steepest ski run in the United States? Does anybody know?
I don't.
Okay, it is.
It's in Vermont, isn't it? Or something? Or is it back east somewhere?
It's in Colorado.
Oh, damn.
Called Rambo, located in Crested Butte. And the pitch is 55 degrees.
Wow.
Which means you'll be holding on for dear life on almost every turn. Okay, and then the other news I had was Bodie Miller Ski Company, Peak Skis right now. It's a deal. He's doing buy one, get one. So you can get like your powder ski and your groomer ski. Buy one, get one with Peak Skis, which is pretty cool. And then it's another one of these studies that we all know, but this is on KSL, enjoying nature may lessen the need for some medications, studies say.
I saw that this morning. I was cracking up. I'm like, really? Yeah.
Why do they always tell us the stuff we know already?
Yeah.
I'm like, come on now. Go outside. It's good for you. In other words, is what the lesson there.
Yeah, get out and live.
Get out and live. That's sort of the important thing here. Todd, thanks again for carrying the show. You know, he's pulling stuff up. Luna, it's very nice to meet you.
Yeah,
thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you guys opened your DMs. I slid
Doesn't
in that
happen
DM.
often. Yep, she did, and it worked. And so it is possible.
Sometimes you just got to reach out. You know, if you want to manifest something, you want to be on something, you want exposure. You just gotta,
you just got to do it.
Got to see what works out for you.
Eric, we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
We'll leave everyone with a song from Pompe and Honey. Crushed it. So good booking there, Todd. Pompe and Honey on Van Sessions. This is Joseph, and it's I don't know if you're familiar with this song. It's a cover, but I think it's a cover of the Andrews Sisters, which the Andrews Sisters don't get covered very often.
Yeah.
So Joseph. This is Pompe and Honey on Van Sessions. We'll see you on the next Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. This is Pompe and Honey.
A certain maid I know is so afraid her beau will never ask her, will she name the day? He calls on her each night, but when she dims the lights, it's 10 to 1 that you will hear her say. So Joseph, won't you make your mind up? It's time I knew just how I stand with you. My heart's no clock that I can stop and wind up each time we make up after being through. So listen, Joseph, time is fleeting, and even though my hair is turning gray, yeah, my mother has a fear, wedding bells I'll never hear. So Joseph, won't you name the day? Joseph, Joseph, won't you make your mind up? It's time I knew just how I stand with you. My heart's no clock that I can stop and wind up each time we make up after being through. So listen, Joseph, Joseph, time is fleeting, and here and there my hair is turning gray. Yeah, my mother has a fear, wedding bells I'll never hear. So Joseph, Joseph, won't you name the day? Oh, Joseph, won't you name the day? Oh, Joseph, won't you name the day? Oh, Joseph, won't you name the day? Name the day, name the day. Oh, Joseph, won't you name the day? Oh, Joseph, won't you name the day? Oh, Joseph, won't you name the day? Name the day, name the day. Oh, Joseph, won't you name the day? Oh, Joseph, won't you name the day? Oh, Joseph, won't you name the day? Name the day, name the day. Thank you.
Very good.